Everyone, I'm Anita Huberman. I'm President and CEO of the Surrey Board of Trade and honorary captain, a proud honorary captain of the Royal Canadian Navy. Thank you so much for being here this afternoon. And everyone, are you excited about doing business in Surrey? Woo! And are you excited that this is the 60th anniversary of the Surrey Board of Trade being incorporated today? Now, I know I'm going to get a louder applause for this. Are you excited that this is the first day of summer and the longest day of the year? Thank you so much for being here. I'd like to acknowledge that we are on the traditional and unceded territory of our Coast Salish peoples, specifically the Kwantlen, Katzie, Semiahmoo, Tawasin, Kaikut, Coquitlam, our Inuit, and our Métis peoples. They have a profound connection to the land and water that surrounds our great city of Surrey. And tomorrow, June 21st, is our National Indigenous Peoples Day. In Surrey, we have the greatest number of urban Indigenous peoples within British Columbia. And I hope tomorrow all of you will spend some time thinking about economic reconciliation in action, but also our history with our Indigenous peoples. That is the purpose of tomorrow. I'd like to thank our sponsors. Sponsors really ensure that all of our Board of Trade events happen. So I want huge, enthusiastic applause for our presenting sponsor, the Vancouver Fraser Port Authority. Our co-speaker sponsors, the Health and Technology District and Legion Veterans Village. And our community sponsor, the Commissioners. I'd also like to thank our ongoing progress partners of the Surrey Board of Trade, the law firm of Fasken, the Chambers of Commerce Group Insurance Plan represented by SNF Benefits, Focus College, Lighthouse Labs, and of course, Western Community College. Everyone, the purpose of an annual general meeting for the Surrey Board of Trade is to let you know about our activities and the financial performance for fiscal 2023 leading into 2024. It is a mandatory requirement as the organization is under the Ministry of Innovation, Science and Economic Development Canada. At each of your seats is a package giving you the information that you need to participate in the annual general meeting. And I thank you again for being here and supporting us in this mandatory process. This package is going to be referenced to as we move through the afternoon's program. So today we have some brief presentations. We're going to proceed with our annual general meeting. And then following that, we have an amazing economic opportunity in our region and what that means to our great city of Surrey. As I mentioned, today we are celebrating 60 years since the Surrey Board of Trade was incorporated. We've been in Surrey since 1918, though, and so much has changed since that time. And I just wanted to ensure that you understand that the Surrey Board of Trade is a city-building business organization through a very diversified service portfolio, meeting the needs and the livability of our economy and ensuring that our profile is elevated not only locally, but also internationally. And to tell you a little bit more about our great city of Surrey and the Surrey Board of Trade, please turn your attention to the screen. screen for a short video. As one of the fastest growing cities in Canada, Surrey is an opportunity city. The Surrey Board of Trade is the concierge of connections.
My name is Dr. Paul Gotra. I am founder and CEO of Simtech Green Energy. Surrey Board of Trade has always been an invaluable part of our business. They have greatly helped us to build business relations, facilitate meetings with our potential customers, and helped us to grow business tremendously through their efforts.
The Surrey Board of Trade is focused on making Surrey an opportunity city by instigating change at the different levels of government, offering a variety of business support services, international trade support services, and being the concierge of connections for the business community in Surrey.
My name is Maria Santos Brives, the owner and president of Surrey Hearing Care Incorporated. Since our inception, Surrey Hearing Care has proudly been a member of Surrey Board of Trade. The organization played a pivotal role in positioning our business and as a leader in the hearing industry. Through the provision of valuable tools, informative resources, and network opportunities with professionals across different sectors, the Surrey Board of Trade has been instrumental in our growth and success.
If it's in the agricultural sector or in the retail sector, if they're needing a government connection, if they have an issue related to government, we are there for them, and we have a proven track record of success to ensure that businesses are helped when they need it in a timely way.
Surrey Board of Trade helps me to build relationship with the right people, whether at City of Surrey, the province, or key partners like PowerTech Labs and BC Hydro.
Being a member of Surrey Board of Trade has not only expanded my network, but it has also provided invaluable resources, guidance, and a sense of community that has greatly contributed to the success and sustainability of both my company, Surrey Hearing Care, and Minamar Janitorial Services.
If you are interested in growing your business, Surrey Board of Trade is an invaluable resource for networking and collaborating with the community and other businesses.
So whether you're a small business or a medium-sized business or a large business, starting out or expanding, we have the connections. We have the resources to ensure that you have what you need during your journey as an entrepreneur. And so on this 60th anniversary of the Surrey Board of Trade since our incorporation, and we all know that Surrey is going to be the largest city in British Columbia in 5 years, we are ensuring that Surrey is a technology industry destination. And so on Tuesday, June 25th, we have 2 events. You're all invited. 9:30 a.m. or 5:30 p.m., we are having the grand opening of our second location for the Surrey Board of Trade in Surrey's Health and Technology District by the Lark Group. And with Western Community College, our joint venture partner, we are making Surrey a technology destination. And I want you to get a preview of the amazing economic development projects that will be incubating in this center. And I hope all of you can attend, and if you need more information, you can check it out at businessinsurrey.com. But everyone, we are revolutionizing the whole Chamber of Commerce Board of Trade model like no other chamber in this nation. So please turn your attention to the screen just to learn a little bit about what you'll see in our second location. On Tuesday. Okay, we're going to show the video on Tuesday. Okay. I did not know that. I wanted to give you a preview, but Heather is a little bit more secretive than I am. But I do want you to know that we will be starting up and scaling up tech businesses. We will be incubating a blockchain center of excellence, a cybersecurity center of excellence, an Indigenous entrepreneurship and innovation center, and we will be expanding our workforce development service portfolio as well as Surrey's International Trade Center. So everyone, I'm just so excited about it. Yes! And, you know, our organization wouldn't be where it is right now without our amazing past board chairs. They're called our governors. We have many of them in the room today, and I've worked with all of you in the 31 years that I've been with the Surrey Board of Trade. And I just wanted to, first of all, articulate that we do remember those past board chairs that have passed on, and we thank you for your contribution. And thank you so much. In attendance is David Dreyer, past board chair from 1995-1996. Dave Hare, 1996-1997. Veronica Mador, 1998-1999. Alan O'Bear, 1999-2000. Archie Johnston, 2005-2006. James Stewart, 2009 to 2010. He's on his way. Nigel Watkinson is in the house, 2010 to 2011. Mary Jane Stenberg, 2011 to 2012. Dr. Greg Thomas, 2016 to 2018. And Balji Dhaliwal, 2021 to 2023. I'd also like to welcome, representing MLA for Surrey Panorama Jenny Sims, is Pam Sidhu. Thank you for being here. So everyone, let's move on with the program. And as I mentioned, our presenting sponsor is the Vancouver Fraser Port Authority. Please help me welcome Jocelyn Young.
Thank you, Anita. I'm also vice chair of the Surrey Board of Trade, so yeah, thank you. Rory does all the hard work. Good morning, everyone. Oh, actually, afternoon. As noted, I'm Jocelyn Young, Manager of External Relations for the Vancouver Fraser Port Authority. I'd like to acknowledge with gratitude that we are gathered on the traditional territories of the Katzie, Kwantlen, Semiahmoo, and other Coast Salish peoples. It's a pleasure to be here today, sponsoring this event on behalf of the service people and veterans who now work at the Port Authority. The Port of Vancouver is Canada's largest port. The port connects businesses here in Surrey to the world for their import and export needs and helps this city to prosper. In Surrey alone, port activity supports about $1.3 billion in economic activity and over 5,000 jobs. This work could not happen without the staff who ensure that goods are moved safely and efficiently through the port. Our operations run 24/7 with teams working night and day to keep trade moving. In fact, a number of our service people and veterans could not be here today because they are currently out patrolling the waterways. And I've been texting them, send me a photo so I can get it on the screen. Or at least I'll show the table. Harbor Patrol officers act as our eyes and ears along the 350 kilometers of shoreline under the Port Authority's jurisdiction, which includes the Fraser River here in Surrey. One of my colleagues, Jessica, a Harbor Patrol officer at the port, is also a reservist and weapons custodian on the HMCS Discovery. She was particularly disappointed not to make it today, although maybe with the sunshine out, she's okay, because Brian Price, the Naval Reserve's Western Region Chief of Staff and one of our speakers today, used to be her commanding officer. So at that time, Jessica worked as the boat custodian and was typically found stationed at the iconic Blue Gates at the HMCS Discovery Naval Reserve in Stanley Park. She now uses the training and experience developed as a reservist in her role at the Port Authority, where she collaborates with partner agencies to keep goods and everyone on the water safe. So I'm very much looking forward to hearing from Brian later today, as well as Scott Moore, CEO of the Invictus Games. In another example of this being a small world, members of the Invictus team will be at the Canada Together event on July 1st. This will be the 38th annual Canada Day celebration and Canada's largest outside of Ottawa at Canada Place at the Port of Vancouver. I understand there's curling, adapted curling that you get to try. The gathering will feature a day of festivities, great food, family fun, and performances, and has been planned collaboratively with representatives from Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. The event is free and designed for the whole community, so I really hope that you'll be able to visit us there. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jocelyn. And now please help me welcome our board chair, Mr. Rory Morgan, to begin our annual general meeting. Thank you so much, Rory. And now I'd like to introduce Dr. Ryan Darcy, President and Chief Scientific Officer at Health Tech Connects and co-founder of Surrey's Health and Technology District. One of our speaker sponsors today, please come forward.
Thank you, Anita. Thank you, everyone. I always love any opportunity to be with the Surrey Board of Trade. I was thinking about opportunity, and I think you're right that Surrey is where the opportunity is. I really was thinking about the why, and the why is the people in this community. And it's certainly the case that over now, I think coming up on 12 years of driving technology innovation and healthcare in this city, it's always been the why. So from the early days when Kirk and myself and other intrepid others had a vision that this could be the Silicon Valley of health technology and created the Health and Technology District, and folks like Jack and his good team through Lark Group actually built what we said we would do, which thanks, Jack, to when we started to be able to actually translate this into real-world improvements. And for sure, as a career highlight, the top real-world improvement for me would have been helping Captain Trevor Green, who is probably one of the most well-known Canadians to go to Afghanistan, has the unofficial largest surviving brain injury after being attacked by an axe in Afghanistan. And with Trevor, we could take advanced science and technology and push the limits in his ability to recover from severe traumatic brain injury. But again, it was the people and the community that actually turned that into something far greater. And today I had the privilege with Scott Moore to tour Scott through Legion's Veterans Village, which was inspired in 2015 by Trevor's inspirational journey. as a vision of a center of excellence that it was all-encompassing for veterans and for first responders. And it's been incredible that even this morning to walk through and hear about stories of a veteran in Surrey who was homeless, who has now got a home in LVV, and to see all the people getting their care and treatment there. And then to be able to showcase that in lieu of the Invictus Games, and actually at the time in 2017, Trevor opened the Invictus Games and hung out with Prince Harry. Little side note, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were not official at that point, so only Trevor and a few people knew because she was in the audience. But at that point, you know, today it was really great because I got to tell Scott and certainly Brian that we're doing stuff now with world-leading technology innovation that has, it's incredible, that has the top centers beating a path to Surrey, right? I was just in Silicon Valley introduced for our portable brain scanner, which is helping Canadian forces with PTSD find easily accessible ways of treating them and reducing their PTSD. And similarly in the Bay Area, interventions for first responders that are around all of the United States. And if you were watching the Canucks playoffs, we were pretty excited because we're pretty sure their run was sanctioned by the fact that they had NeuroCatch, our technology on hand. So that was good too. But either way, my point is the why and the people in the community in Surrey have taken on bold, ambitious visions and projects to change the world, and they do. And that's why technology comes here. That's why the opportunity is here. And I'm just so grateful to be a part of that community and those people. And I don't plan on stopping anytime soon, as I know we all don't. So thank you very much for always embracing the Health and Technology District and Legion's Veteran Village and everything the business community does. Now, I have the honor of welcoming your first speaker today, who is Brian Price, a naval warfare officer with the Royal Canadian Navy and former commanding officer for HMCS Discovery. He currently serves for the Naval Reserve's Western Region for Chief of Staff. Please help me welcome Brian Price.
I'm going to try this without glasses, so if I stop, you'll have to give me that. So good afternoon, and thank you very much for the warm welcome. I'll just first echo Anita's acknowledgement of us being on the traditional territories of the Coast Salish peoples, particularly the Kwantlen, Katsi, Coquitlam, Kukite, Semiahmoo, and Tsawwassen First Nations, and also recognizing and acknowledging the Inuit and Métis people who also live and work in these territories. As mentioned, my name is Brian Price, and I am in my 32nd year of service with the Royal Canadian Navy. And I know the math doesn't appear to make sense because clearly I don't look a day over 35. But. So over the past several years, I've got to know your CEO, Anita, very well in her role as an honorary captain with the Royal Canadian Navy. What you might not know is that role is extremely important for us in the Navy because it's a connection point between the Navy and the community in Surrey. And Anita's also been a very key advocate and enabler for us as we in the Army and Navy Reserve look to expand our footprint into Surrey. That's a process that's been extremely long, and you mentioned the rapidity that the federal government does things with. Well, we're a great example of that, but we're getting there. And that's part of the reason is because of Anita. She asked me to be here today to say a few words about the Invictus Games 2025, Vancouver and Whistler, and why it's important for the present and past members of the Canadian Armed Forces and the larger community in Metro Vancouver. As stated, it is all about the people. I say in my job in the Naval Reserve, my job is people. That's the business that I'm in, and people are core to this. So to give some context, I think it's important to give some insights about the Canadian Armed Forces and the people who serve within the organization. You'll note that first I say Canadian Armed Forces, vice the Navy. So to be clear, I am a dyed-in-the-wool sailor. I am extremely fortunate and proud to have been a part of the Royal Canadian Navy for a very long time, but I'm also part of a much larger team, and that's the Canadian Armed Forces. As part of that larger team, I've had the opportunity to serve at home and overseas with truly outstanding fellow Canadians and service people from partner and allied nations. And as Jocelyn reminded me, I'm a big fan of the people that I work with, and there's some great examples, and she mentioned my colleague, Jessica. If you want to see what outstanding looks like, get a chance to talk to Jessica. She's but one example of hundreds and hundreds that live and reside in the Lower Mainland, and not surprisingly, hundreds live in Surrey as well. We blend in with our community. We're your neighbors, we're your friends, we're your family members. So if you get a chance to talk to a CAF member, I encourage you to do so. You will not be disappointed. This larger team that I speak of is tasked with a very simple and clear mission. We love clarity in the military. Defend the sovereignty of Canada. More practically, this includes such things as providing assistance to the provinces in times of need. We've seen that most recently with the wildfires, historic wildfires in British Columbia and Western Canada, and also weather events like the atmospheric river in 2021. This also includes deploying overseas to execute tasks and missions as directed by the Government of Canada to reinforce our sovereignty and that of our allies. Oftentimes, this meant that our people can be sent into very difficult and dangerous situations that at times can result in serious injuries and at worst, fatalities. We've heard about some of that today. Captain Trevor Green is an outstanding example of taking this adversity, moving to rebuilding, and truly done some amazing things. But he is also one of many examples of that. For the people that are injured in their road to recovery, that recovery comes with 3 pillars. The first, friends and family. Critical for everybody in their lives, but key for their recovery. Second are the medical professionals who are their partners in helping them rebuild themselves. The third pillar is the support provided from their comrades in the Canadian Armed Forces. The camaraderie associated with service cannot be understated nor minimized. It is something that I have experienced and I hold very dear. It transcends cultural background, persuasion, status, and brings people together in a way that is extremely powerful. An example of this, if you get a chance to work or live or be around CAF members, we routinely refer to each other as brother or sister. And that's not just a word, it's something we hold very dear. And I can tell you that I personally get a little bit excited when I'm driving around and I see a veteran's license plate. I'm very quick to look to see if this is one of my brothers and sisters that I know, or it's a brother and sister that I just quite frankly haven't met yet. And that transcends around the world. The people I've had a chance to work with in other nations, we treat each other exactly that way. For those who serve or have served that are recovering from injury, be it seen or unseen, the support provided by their comrades is so very important and constitutes a unique aspect to their recovery that cannot be understated, as mentioned. While that support comes from those comrades closest to past and serving members recovering from their injury, the larger Canadian Armed Forces community also has a role to play in being able to demonstrate support, and the Invictus Games is a tremendous opportunity to do so. During the Games, next February, serving and past members of the Canadian Armed Forces in Metro Vancouver will be very visible at Invictus Games events to publicly demonstrate the support for the athletes who are working so hard on their respective journeys as they, to quote the Invictus Games Foundation, reclaim their purpose, identity, and future beyond injury. The last few words is what I like to focus on, beyond injury. You will see our local serving members of the Canadian Armed Forces in uniform in the audience at events like the opening ceremonies, at key public events associated with the Games, and other events that are taking place throughout the tenure of the Games. This will be our way to show visible support to our comrades from Canada and other participating nations, along with being able to connect directly with other Canadians and visitors to the Invictus Games. And with that, it is my sincere pleasure to welcome the CEO of Invictus Games 2025 Vancouver and Whistler, Scott Moore.
Thank you, Brian, and thank you to the Surrey Board of Trade. I start every speech that I make about Invictus with 2 simple words. Thank you. This is about, for us, trying to inspire a legacy of gratitude. Gratitude for men and women like Brian, his brothers and sisters, who literally lay down their lives in service of us, and too often do so invisibly. Too often are not recognized, and too often when they suffer injuries, whether they be seen or unseen, are suffering in silence, in their basements, without support. The Invictus Games is not a sporting event. It's an event that uses sport for its transformative power to heal. And for that, we're incredibly thankful to be able to stage them in the Lower Mainland and in Whistler. And I'll say thank you to the Surrey Board of Trade to give me an opportunity to come home to Surrey to speak about this. My wife and I lived in South Surrey, which you have now apparently taken over, and White Rock. We merged. It was a wonderful place for us to live, and it's great to be able to bring these games to the Lower Mainland. And as a former television producer, I like to be able to say that a picture shows 1,000, or is as good as 1,000 words. So let me show you some of the scenes you may see next February at our games. You'll meet at these games people like a gentleman you saw in that video, Mark Ormrod. He's a former British Marine, triple amputee. He competed in Sydney. He competed in swimming as a triple amputee. And when the start happened, and they don't shoot a gun to start at the Invictus Games, they blow a whistle for obvious reasons. The entire field dove into the pool, and Mark started his journey. The winner finished in about 30 seconds, silver medalist just behind him. And they looked back, and Mark was about 20 meters down the pool. And his brothers and sisters, who had finished already, came back, swam back to be with Mark, and swam the rest of that lap with Mark. Because, Brian, you know, no man is left behind in this culture. And the place went crazy. That's the inspiration you'll see. That's the type of healing that we're part of and privileged to be a part of with the Invictus Games. I want to tell you another story. Well, before I do, I did want to say how impressed I was with the Legion's Veterans Village. Anita, you talked about innovation in Surrey. I saw it firsthand. What's happening at that facility is not happening anywhere else in the world. And one of our goals is to leave a financial legacy to help veterans with homelessness, with mental health, with addiction, many other things that, unfortunately, our veterans struggle with. And I want our Invictus family to see what you're doing in Surrey. And my commitment to you today is to bring Prince Harry to Surrey to see the Legion Veteran Village. So we had the great privilege of having the Prince and Meghan here for our 1 year to go celebration and a training camp which featured athletes from 23 nations around the world who are going to compete in Whistler. Many of them will be competing in winter events, because it's the first ever Invictus Games that has winter and summer events. Many of them will be competing in winter events, having never competed in winter events before. We met a young man from Nigeria. His name, as a member of the Nigerian Armed Forces, is fittingly Peacemaker. Now, Peacemaker unfortunately lost a leg in a firefight with Boko Haram. Peacemaker was up on the hill at Whistler, having seen snow for the first time, learning how to ski on one leg. And as he came down the hill, my wife and I were at the bottom of the hill, and I looked at him, and he's a beautiful young man with a gorgeous smile. And I said, "What did you think?" He said, "Today was the best day of my life." Now, the next day, because in Invictus you can compete in more than one sport, Peacemaker was trying the skeleton, which is going down the bobsled track at 50 miles an hour, head first. He got down to the bottom of the skeleton track, and once again, my wife Becky and I were at the bottom, and he jumped up, and I said, "What did you think today?" He said, "Today is the best day of my life." But he then said something that really encapsulated the Invictus Games for me, because I asked him which was better, the skiing or the skeleton. And he said, the skeleton, because in skiing you need real skill. In skeleton, all you need is courage. So think about that. All you need is courage to sign up and be a brother and sister to Brian Price. All you need is courage is to go into a battle zone or a wildfire or a long-term care home during COVID. All you need is courage to put up your hand and say, "I need help." And all you need is courage is to get to that finish line and then, like Mark Omrod, be able to get to the finish line with your brothers and sisters. So I've told that Peacemaker story for a couple of months now since I've been back in Vancouver talking about the Invictus Games, and now I get a chance to actually introduce you to Peacemaker with this video. I think Peacemakers are going to become a star of these games. So why do you care about Invictus? Why did I care about Invictus? I have no real family history with the armed forces. My uncle was in World War II as a bomber, but that's about the only relationship I had. But the more I get to know about the military culture and how much help our veterans need, the more I realize that this is a cause that late in life, although like you, Brian, I look very young, late in life, that cause found me. And I'm evangelical now about getting support for these games because these games will leave a legacy. We've committed to leaving a minimum of $5 million legacy for veterans issues in British Columbia, across the country and internationally, for adaptive sport, and to create community and 12-month-a-year adaptive sport to allow people like Peacemaker and others a way to heal. So how can you be involved? Well, first and foremost, we'd love you to attend. On February 8th, we were supposed to announce this today officially. We didn't because there was a technological error, but it will be announced on Monday that BC Place will be the home of our opening ceremonies, which is a wonderful challenge. Thank you. You can applaud for that. It's a wonderful challenge because in November, when the Prince was here, he saw that the original plan was to have the opening ceremonies at the Vancouver Convention Centre, and he said, it's not big enough. So he said, what's the biggest place we can have one in? And he said, BC Place. Now, this happened before I came on as CEO, and I said, great idea. How much did we increase the budget? Well, we didn't. Okay. It's still the right idea. We had to find a little bit more money, but it's still the right idea because our vision is that on February 8th, 550 athletes, participants from around the world who have served their nations, will come out to a record crowd of between 30 and 50,000 people who will be completing that circle of inspiration, who have been inspired or will be inspired by the participants as they go through the games, but those participants will be inspired by the gratitude and the support they're getting from 30 to 50,000 people. So if you're looking to get involved, tickets will be on sale in September. You can register for tickets now. Or as a business, we'd encourage you to think about buying a block of tickets for school kids who might learn, for First Nations groups, for military members who might not otherwise be able to attend. We have hospitality packages that you can be involved in. And we are still looking for some sponsors, although I will say we are very, very grateful to the province of British Columbia, to the federal government, to our two major sponsors, Boeing and ATCO, and many others, including all 5 banks. I'm thrilled to say that we have all 5 banks supporting us. So where will the results be? Well, you'll see it in the $5 million we leave. I hope you'll feel it in the legacy of gratitude that we leave and a tradition in thanking our military members, not just saying thank you for their service, but feeling thank you for their service and feeling gratitude. But you'll also see that legacy in many, many other ways. But maybe the most important is, and I'll leave you with this, many of the people who participate in these games have injuries that you will never see. As I said, many of them have had significant brain injuries or trauma, and many of them end up in their basements for months and months and can't face the world. And they get the opportunity to be here, and we hear many times from former athletes and their families, thank you for giving me my father back. Thank you for giving me my sister back. Thank you for giving me our family back. And if you doubt any of that, fully 15% of participants have told us that without a cause like the Invictus Games to motivate them, they would otherwise have committed suicide. So while I've been fortunate in my career to be part of 11 Olympic Games change lives. Invictus Games save lives. So we hope for your support, and thank you for allowing me to be here to talk about it today.
Thank you so much, Scott, and thank you for allowing us to tour you around Surrey Legion Veterans Village this morning. Kirk Fisher from the Lark Group, Dr. Ryan Darcy, Health Tech Connect, Surrey's Health and Technology District, we are with you. And with the greatest number of military families in Surrey, within British Columbia, we are focused on ensuring that our veterans are taken care of. So thank you so much. So both Brian and Scott will be around to take photos on stage. We have our beautiful 60th well-lit balloon display. And thank you so much again to our presenting sponsor, the Vancouver Fraser Port Authority. Our co-speaker sponsors, the Health and Technology District and the Legion Veterans Village Research Foundation. Our community sponsor, the Commissioners. So before we conclude, we do have a door prize, 1 week usage of Park and Fly at the Vancouver Airport. Summer vacation is upon us, and you can collect your prize at the registration desk outside. And the winner is Todd Holowachuk. Congratulations, Todd.